Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking all things productivity, but productivity that sticks, because there's so much content out there. And if you're anyone like me, so much of that content can just leave you feeling burnt out or it really doesn't resonate. So this video is made for people like you who want real, genuine, easy to implement productivity tips that are going to help you ultimately live a better life. Sounds dramatic, but it's true because this is all based on my lived experience. As someone who genuinely loves planning, genuinely loves finding new ways of being productive and organized and feeling at my best along the way, I am speaking from truth. Give me a fresh calendar, give me color-coded notepad, color-coded diary, and I am thriving. That is my happy place. So I am here to share some of the top tips and tools that I've used to help me grow my online six-figure business, but also to help me feel more fulfilled and on top of things in my day-to-day life. I'm always honest with what I share, and I've always been someone who has genuinely been organized. So it's one of the things that I get very passionate about speaking on because I have seen firsthand the impact of some of these little tips and tools that I'm sharing today. I've got some notes in front of me so that I don't forget anything, and I really would love to hear from you in the comments below. What is something that's helped you feel more productive or be more productive? You know, it's not just feeling, it's actually being, whether it's with managing your time or balancing work and life and relationships and everything in between, to feeling more kind of in flow with running a business if you are a fellow entrepreneur. So let me know below and let's see whether any of the tips that I'm going to be sharing with you today are the same. I'm going to be giving you 7 productivity tips and habits that have genuinely changed the way that I work and live. They're simple, they're real, they're sustainable, and whether you're self-employed or working in a 9-to-5, these habits are going to help you, and they're ones that you can implement straight away. So let's dive right in. Habit number 1 is energy first, everything else later. You may well have heard me talk about energy if you've followed me for a while. But before I do anything on my to-do list, before I sit down at my desk, I check in with my energy. This could look like a morning walk or some kind of physical movement before anything else, especially before screens. I am such a big advocate of my morning routine, and I've done many videos on morning routines, so make sure to check those out. But morning routines are really there to help me check in with my energy and my mindset, to ask myself, what do I need today to feel good? Where is my energy at? Is it low? Is it deflated? Is it high? Am I feeling really positive? And how can I then use my energy to help me inform the rest of my day? Because if I don't feel great, if I'm feeling a bit off, I don't force work. I am disciplined and I show up and I do the work that needs to be done, but I will make sure to check in and replenish or protect my energy first, and then I will move on with my day. Because productivity starts in the body, not in those browser tabs. It starts within us, not on paper. So yes, there's an element of being able to kind of push through, but over the long run, sustainably, that is not going to help. So that habit number 1 is energy first, everything else later. First thing in the morning, check in with your energy. Ask yourself, what do I need today? What does my energy need? How am I feeling? Follow your intuition, that answer that comes through, and then watch how that then helps the rest of the tasks for the day ahead. I used to be someone that would sit down with my coffee and force productivity. I would ignore those signals within me. I would just do the thing that I'd set out to do, follow my plan. But I noticed I was just feeling pretty anxious, pretty detached, pretty demotivated, and operating a bit like a robot going through the motions. So when I started putting my energy first, things began to change. Things felt easier. I was operating from a place of flow. People would comment on my energy and want to be around me because I was someone who was positive and uplifting and had a really clear focus outlook on life. And as a coach working with fellow founders, that's such an important part of my work, is my energy. So check in with yourself and check in with your energy as your non-negotiable from now on. Okay, habit number 2, anchor over aesthetic. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing what grounds you, what makes you feel good, what helps you stay aligned with your values. So some of my anchors are things like my morning matcha, my morning journaling, creating a quick plan for the day ahead, getting fresh air on my lunch break. These are small anchors throughout the day so that even on those chaotic, busy, nonstop days, I'm still doing things for me that help me feel good, that get my mindset aligned with my goals and my values. Because consistency doesn't have to look perfect. Consistency isn't what we're striving for. We're striving for showing up authentically and in a way that feels in alignment with our bigger vision. So your anchor habits are the things that help you feel stable and grounded and aligned on a day-to-day basis. They create that starting point for other things to unfold. So a common example here where I used to be operating in a different way is when I used to try and copy these perfectly formulated 7-step morning routines that I'd see being spoken about on socials. And then I'd get annoyed and frustrated when I wasn't able to stick to them. And it's not surprising because those weren't my morning routines. Those weren't routines that would set me up for success. Whereas when I understood what are my anchors that are going to give me a rhythm and flow throughout the day, that are going to make me feel good without the pressure, that's when things started to make a difference. So what are your anchors that you know if you have throughout the day are going to help you create that consistency, that positive headspace, that motivation, that self-discipline, that aren't reliant on someone else's structures, but make you feel good? In fact, let me know below. What are your anchors? So as I say, mine are journaling, my morning matcha, my quick plan at the beginning of the day, my fresh air on my lunch break. Share those with me below and let's create a bit of a list because you never know, yours might inspire someone else's. Okay, habit number 3, flow before format. I match the task to my energy, not the clock. This is a really, really good one. So I do a lot of my more strategic kind of business planning, more like deep work in the mornings. And then I do more admin and creative work in the afternoon where I know I don't need to be as focused and switched on. So the more like energy intensive and kind of demanding, like mentally demanding tasks in the morning, the more creative, more admin in the afternoon. And if I'm really resisting something, I don't force it. I'll find a better time. So I recently have become more aware of like my cycles and aligning the tasks within my business with my cycle. So towards the end of my cycle, before I'm about to get my period, I'm super low energy and I can find it harder to motivate myself. So that's when I will be doing things that are a bit more creative, less kind of business strategy and operations, and more like the day-to-day, the creativity. Maybe it's a bit more, a bit more versatile. So this is really about matching your tasks and your responsibilities with your internal rhythms, with your energy, with your cycle to help you work with you rather than against you. One of the best shifts I made was realizing I don't have to be productive in the same way every single day. And actually, we operate as a woman on 28-day cycles. That's assuming you're having regular cycles. So throughout those 28 days, notice the different seasons that you go through. The slower times, the more like sociable, outgoing times, the ones where you're more like behind the screens, others that you're more networking out there, going to events. Use your cycle to help you align your habits, your tasks with your cycles and your rhythms. So flow before format. Connect with your energy versus planning your day first and then trying to make it fit in with how you're feeling. Okay, habit number 4, feel it, then frame it. I ask how I want to feel and build the day around that. I love choosing a word for the month and using that word to help me align with decisions, actions, the way that I'm showing up. So we're in May at the moment, and I've actually chosen 2 words for May, but my words are magnetic and magical because I want to create a month that is full of ease, of inbound leads, of magnetic opportunities, magnetic people, magical kind of encounters and opportunities. So how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel this month? But you can also do it on a week-to-week basis. Is it focused? Is it fulfilled? Is it connected? Is it fun? Is it childlike? What words come to mind to you? And use that word as your anchor to guide you through the week or month, depending on how regularly you want to ask that question. And then I build in activities or structure that help me support that energy. So I'll look at things I want to do each week, or create structures or processes that I know are going to help me stay focused on alignment or abundance or freedom. So I'm a big advocate of having me days or CEO days in my business, where I block out a full day in every month for me to do something that lights me up, to honor that freedom in my life that I've created as of 5 years ago when I left my corporate job. So it's less going through the motion, less living life on autopilot, and really being intentional with how you are designing your weeks and your months to help you feel at your best, to help you show up as the best version of you. So what does that word look like to you at the moment? As I say, choose it on a week-to-week basis or on a monthly basis, and use that to help you make decisions. Some days I want that clear-headed, focused vibe. Others I want time to be more explorative, to create space, to be creative, to really feel guided by my intuition. Like, what do I feel like doing today? And this helps me design my days and my weeks rather than just be on that reactive mode when you're going through autopilot. Let me know below, what's a word that you want to adopt for the rest of this month? I would love to hear, and I'm very happy to give some suggestions on how you can really embody that for the next coming weeks. So on to habit number 5. This is energizing environments. And this honestly is a game changer. I choose to work in places and spend time in places that boosts my energy, not drains them. So I spend a lot of time working in my living room because there's big open windows, the sun shines through, there's gorgeous colors on the walls, there's lovely lighting. It's very spacious. That helps me feel good. Other places I love working in that I feel very productive and focused in are more like bustling coffee shops, 5-star hotel lobbies, rooftops when I'm abroad, because I love being around other people, other energy. And I'm very good at focusing despite there being kind of more hustle and bustle and movement around me. So noticing that a change of scenery helps me feel focused is how I can create more success in my business. If I'm working for too long in the same place, it becomes a bit stagnant. I don't come up with ideas as easily. I'm not as motivated. Mixing it up for me is fundamental, and I'm sure it is the same for you as well. So think about the spaces where you feel most inspired, most motivated, and you get that sense of creativity or even like that strategic way of thinking. And how can you plan these into your days so that you can optimize those locations where your energy feels elevated? And if you can't do it as regularly as you'd like, you can still shift up the space within your own home or within your own workspace, adding a new lamp, adding a new print, bringing in a candle, mixing up the senses is really where your energy gets shifted from one state to another. Honestly, working the same spot every day used to absolutely kill my creativity and my productivity. I get so much more done when I mix up the locations that I'm in. The 2-hour burst in a coffee shop used to be equivalent to like 4 hours sitting at home on my desk, where I was spending every single day without moving around and shifting up my space. So make sure that you are feeling inspired by your surroundings and take note. Where is your energy elevated? What environment, what colors, what sounds, what scents, and use that to help intentionally curate a space that's going to make you show up as the best version of yourself. Okay, habit number 6, romanticize the routine. I did a video a couple of months ago now about how you can romanticize your life without spending any money. I will link it now and I'll pop it below because that video is full of gems of how you can romanticize your everyday without spending lots of money. But I'm a big fan of romanticizing the routine, and it's a habit that's really helped me to create more success in my life, more joy, a greater sense of abundance, more of that growth mindset, which we know has endless benefits. So this is really about making the boring stuff feel good and making those admin tasks a bit more enjoyable, whether it's with putting on a playlist, whether it's listening to a favorite podcast, whether it's just being present in that moment and actually feeling gratitude for the tasks at hand. It's what I have found makes the biggest difference here is noticing the small details. So when you're going on a walk, maybe it's to do the food shop, it's not listening to headphones and it's just taking in the small details around you. When it's doing the housework, it's listening to a podcast that inspires you and actually acknowledging what a luxury it is to listen to these sorts of conversations whilst also doing things that ultimately are a benefit for you and the environment that you're living in. So how can you create romantic routines or elevated moments in those kind of day-to-day mundane rituals that simply we have to do? It sounds silly, but things like lighting a candle or making your workspace neat and tidy and feel productive actually makes you want to sit down and do the work. So the better state that you can get yourself in and the more enjoyment that you can experience on a day-to-day basis, it's only going to make you shine brighter. It's only going to make you feel more productive, more focused, more motivated to do the work. So have a look around your space at the moment. Like, do you feel good in that space? In your bedroom, like, are you looking after that space with care, with pride? Are you allowing yourself those moments to light a candle, to spritz a little bit of perfume, to dress up and feel good for the day ahead? They're all little habits, but these are all things that I have done, especially in the last 5 years since working for myself. And it does honestly shift your mindset. Putting on a nice outfit, taking a little bit of extra time for self-care in the morning, making sure your workspace feels good, it all has a greater ripple effect on the outcome of the work that you're doing. Okay, final habit for today. Habit number 7 is cycle syncing. And I kind of alluded to this a little bit in a previous habit, but it's something that I've done as of much more recently, having spoken to Hannah, this wonderful nutritionist who specializes in period recovery. I did a podcast recently on my podcast, It's Not Luck, where she came on as a guest and we spoke about the power of cycle syncing and tying the different phases of your cycle to sort of seasons within your months. So now I really try to plan my month around my natural energy cycles. It's not just your period, it's your period and your kind of energy cycles, your mood cycles. So the times when you're experiencing higher energy, that's when we're doing the things that require more of like your zone of genius skills. So selling, if you're a business owner, lead generation, nurturing, in-person events, networking, all of these things that require you to show up, especially if you're in a service-based role, but also even if you're in a corporate job, actually relationships are such a fundamental part of success, regardless of what industry you're in. And then those lower energy times or days, it's the tasks that don't require you to be on. So whether it's more admin, it's more planning, it's more of those like day-to-day tasks that you can do without needing to be sat at a desk kind of fully focused. So what I've learned is I no longer expect 100% energy 100% of the time. It's just not possible and it's not sustainable. In fact, I think that was part of the reason why I burnt out 4 years ago, because I was almost in denial that my energy was, not always going to be available 100% of the time. So I kept pushing through, ignoring the signs of my body. Whereas now I check in with my energy, as I said in one of my previous habits. I ask how I want to feel. I have anchors that help me feel good. And I recognize that when my energy is lower, there are certain tasks that are more beneficial to do in that time. So productivity is important, yes, but we don't need to be 100% productive all the time. We need to think about being more sustainable, honoring our needs, honoring how we're feeling, and then adapting and creating flexibility in our schedule so that we're not going to burn ourselves out. Understanding my cycle helped me to stop judging myself on those days that I felt a little bit off. Now I plan for it and I get way more done in the long run, because actually we don't need to be sat at our desk working from 8 till 6 in order to be successful. I have proved that. And this is something that I'm helping clients with day in, day out, is how to scale and grow your income and increase your success whilst actually creating more space and time in your day to enjoy the things that you do outside of work. So these are the 7 productivity habits that have actually made a really big difference in my life, that are relatively small on paper, but have really big impact on the kind of physical sense, but also on our energy and our mindset. The biggest shift really is that I stopped forcing myself into someone else's version of productivity and success, and came back to me and built systems that work for me. Whether that's the way that I plan my weekly tasks, my morning routine, the systems that I use to sell, the way that I sell. It's both practical and it's intangible. So if you've got any questions around that, feel free to drop a comment below and I will get back to you with as much personalized advice as possible. And if one of these habits stood out to you in particular, I'd love to hear it. Drop it below, share your thoughts with me, share your outcomes, and let me know if there's one new habit that you're going to start to implement in your day-to-day to help you feel and experience greater success. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button for weekly videos on all things productivity, success, creating a rich life, and ultimately stepping into the most successful version of you. Thank you so much for joining, and I will catch you in the next video.